Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Star Wars Stuff Podcast. My name is David.
My name is
I'm-
Zach. Oh,
I'm Colin. Sorry.
Craig
Very
5
good.
standing by.
And this is where we talk all things episode 7 for Skeleton Crew. So, almost absolutely nothing came to pass in this episode. We did go back to that, and I guess I was wrong there. I didn't think we would go back, but we did go back. But before we get started, let's thank all of our awesome Patreon supporters out there. Starting off with Darth Ace 1, Liam McCowan, Chris Simpson, Kevin Leininger, Devin McCaffrey, Drew Peters, Zach Netzel, Maya Morris, Makatau Tala, Adam Haber, who I think is in the chat, Brad Mackey, Front Row King, Darth Beard, Indiana Solo, and Mariana Atia Arnold. Thank you so much for being the awesome supporters of the Star Wars Stuff podcast that you are. And of course, go to legionsabers.com, use the code STUFF at checkout for 15% off. So guys, we got some lightsaber action.
we did.
We got a little bit of new information in regards to other people knowing about AT-AT.
Yeah.
But I think I predicted some lightsaber action. We got very, very minimal of that. It ended on a cliffhanger, which is a little disappointing. But what did you guys think of the episode overall, Zach?
Yeah, I thought it was exciting. I mean, I guess we're chit-chatting quick beforehand on not being wrong on all accounts, but there wasn't really anything, I guess, that led to explaining Jod's past. We just kind of saw him take over, which was cool. I thought that was exciting, kind of from the pirate standpoint. It was cool to see how the kids and the group of pirates kind of came together to go into the planet, and I thought that was really, really cool. What?
Okay. So before we were trying to see if we knew who the voice of the supervisor is, we do. It is in the credits. It's Stephen Fry.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool.
I hear it now. So Stephen Fry is the supervisor. Interesting. It could be like a voice modulator thing too, to make it sound like a human, but then it ends up being like a droid or something. We don't know. But it says in the credits that the voice that we heard is Stephen Fry, because it says supervisor and then it says Stephen Fry. So there you go.
And that's British comedian Stephen Fry, right?
Yep.
Comedian, actor. He was a Goblin King in The Hobbit.
No, he was not. Okay. He was the Lake
he was
Town.
the mayor of Lake Town, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
I got him confused.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Very cool. But yeah, no. Overall, I thought it was pretty solid. How about you, Craig?
It was shocking. He killed Brutus point blank.
Yeah.
That was pretty
didn't see
shocking
that coming.
for a kids show, or centered around kids, and then cutting off 33's head like that.
Yeah.
And how aggressive he was towards the kids.
Yes. It got dark really quick.
Unnecessarily aggressive. He didn't need to be that aggressive with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like saying I especially saying I know who your parents are. I'm gonna slice them up. I was like, whoa. It was like, way pretty aggressive.
Piece by piece. Like, oh geez, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it got dark pretty fast. So that's kind of crazy. I also loved how again, I was really happy that I was right about the episode not being focused on the parents. Because of the tradition of these kids movies is that it primarily is focused on the kids. So we got a whole episode about the parents. That would have felt really weird. So I loved how the opening was the parents actually getting the message out, and then that was really it. It didn't really focus on the parents that much. So I love that.
Darth Beard on YouTube says not seen it yet, so no spoilers, please. I think he's kidding. He's kidding about that.
Okay. I was gonna be like,
Zach says, wouldn't that amount of gold make it lower in value? 1,000 volts holding the same amount. It's a secret to everyone, so not everyone knows. Yeah. So I guess they can kind of set the market in a way.
There's some story there now, because it's because it kind of so you had the gold thing in. Okay, I'm just gonna. spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the episode, you probably shouldn't be listening to this podcast right now. But when they're actually going down, you actually see this giant golden sphere that kind of I don't think it's the planet core. If it ends up being the planet core, that's very similar to Treasure Planet. But it's like down in this, like kind of near the center of the planet, I'm guessing. And the gold of it looks like it's an ore, and it looks like they're like taking bits of it. Yes, smelting it and turning it into credits. And that's why they have so many vaults and everything. That's my guess. And the fact that there's so many vaults, which is insane. It's absolutely insane. My question is, how are they going to walk away from this? How is everyone? Like, what's the outcome going to be? Because if one person finds out, like, and like leaves, it's going to be really, really interesting because, you know, that's a lot of credits. That's a lot of you know, cash right there. So if one person finds out, spreads word of mouth,
13,000
1,300, I think it was 1,000.
Well, that's a very, very specific number, and it's a very off by one famous number because, of course, 1138 is Lucas's number. It was 1139.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be, oh man, if one person ends up escaping, they'll tell the story. Either people won't believe them or they will, and then that's going to bring in a lot of other people trying to get back and get to the treasure. So I'm just really curious of what the outcome is going to be. I think we got more questions than answers in this question, which I'm fine. I mean, in this episode, which I'm totally fine with. But yeah, no, I thought it was intriguing. I feel like we really saw the true colors of Jod. Like Jod was just full out. Like, you know, hey, I know what your parents look like. If you mess up, I'm gonna slice them up. And I was just like, whoa,
that's crazy.
I was like, whoa, man, like that's crazy. So yeah, no, he's shown his true colors. Him shooting Jod was kind of like, I don't know if I was surprised. I was more, I mean, because, you know, that's kind of like pirate like tradition. Because, you know, he was his second mate, and then his second mate betrayed him. Like, of course, he's not going to spare his life. He's, I'm not going to leave you around. Like, I'm going to choose you as an example, never to cross me again. So to me, that kind of made sense. I was shocked, but not shocked, if that made sense. But yeah.
Someone named James Herrera on YouTube says the transmitter looked almost like the ship from E.T. That's what I thought too immediately. Yeah. I was like, wow, this looks so familiar. It's the ship from E.T.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. The other part, which one of our listeners brought up, is as soon as he chopped off 33's head, Snowball kind of crawled out, and it looked like he was going to step on him. I was going to be like, whoa.
Yeah, that would have been nuts.
Yeah, I was like, geez.
I think he should have stepped on him, and he should have just like flew out, you know, like got him squeezed between the floor and his boot and just like shot out. I don't know. My humble opinion.
Yeah.
Musu Piota on YouTube says he thought CGI tonight was incredible in his opinion.
Is Jod redeemable at all at this point?
I don't think so.
Well,
from like good to bad or bad to good, I guess.
Okay. Well, this is again, this is getting in the same territory as Treasure Island and Planet and Treasure Planet. The some of the characters and those stories are very similar to what we're seeing now. And in Treasure Planet, the captain is very close of getting the treasure, but then like the planet kind of explodes, and then like, you know, he redeems himself by saving Jim and Treasure Planet. And I think there's going to be a moment here where they're in danger, and then he chooses to be good instead of evil, and he finds his humanity again. I could see them doing that because there have been a lot of tropes like that have been very similar to those stories, but only time will tell.
Well, and it's interesting in a lot of pirate stories, like there's cursed treasure or whatever, and when people find it, it kind of drives whoever finds it crazy a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Jod's going to go on like a killing spree or something, but I don't know. He's teed up to be in a spot where he holds all the power and he could do something super stupid. So we'll see what he ends up doing next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like what Zach says here. Jod has the Force and could have unlocked the cuffs at any time. So, I mean, being a pirate, having the Force to the ability that Jod does have, I mean, that should give him like supreme confidence in any type of like debacle that he's in, like the garbage chute there, the airlock. I mean, he played it right up into the very end. I mean, what was he going to do? I mean, the person had their finger hovering over the button. It's like, how was he going to get out of that if they hit the button? You know, I mean, was he going to force stop that person? Well, what do you think his play was going to be there? Because it seems like he knows how to get out of every situation, you know? Yes, some kind of man.
He could have done the same move from Craig's favorite movie that Princess Leia did, of where she was in space and then she flew back to the ship.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So no, I think and something else about Jod too is that he was really quick on his feet. Like he figured out that the ship was the key. But here's my question: how on earth did he get on the ship? Like
he clearly has the Force.
Yeah, that's insane to me. I was actually surprised to see him on it because of the last shot we saw was the ship, like, you know, kind of far away from him. So yeah, it makes more sense that he is Force sensitive because he probably like did a Force jump and got on there. I mean, or his blaster had a grappling hook on it. Like that just blew my mind to see him on the ship. I was sitting on the couch with my wife and I just kind of was like, what? Yeah, because that just kind of blew my mind. But yeah, he made it on there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was shocking, but it's clear that he has the Force. It's not a gimmick. You could hear the rumble. What was it? He used the Force, and you could hear the rumble. So it's clear he has the Force. There's no doubt about it.
I just really hope that they explain it, but like before the season is done. I like hope they have some explanation. If they do kind of like a thing of where, you know, the adventures are done, Jod is sitting all tied up, and then Wim is like, so are you a Jedi? Like, or I mean, like, are you Force sensitive? And then he says something on the lines of that's a story for another time. I'll be like, oh, come on. Come on, man.
Not again.
Yeah.
So Zach on YouTube brings up the fact that he didn't look that comfortable with the lightsaber. What did you guys think? Did he look okay? Did he look like a novice? Did he look like he didn't know what he was doing? Because I really couldn't quite tell because like, he really didn't have to do too many moves, you know?
I don't know. I think that cut for 33's head was pretty clean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like Zach, were you expecting him to do the Skywalker spin behind his back and chop off his head, like
in that small space?
yeah. I mean, sometimes there's this phrase called. I mean, not called, but the phrase goes, "Less is more." So I think him just doing a simple, you know, kind of swipe was perfect. I didn't think he had to do anything crazy. But yeah.
Yeah, no, Richard on YouTube says, did anyone else think 33 turning felt like a bit of a cop-out, especially how strictly he'd adhered to the pirate code for the prior 6 episodes? It was a little odd. It felt like he was kind of like breaking a little bit of a rule. Like it was almost like he had like a human quality to him in a way.
It sounded like he wanted to be, because the line after he punches Jod and knocks him out, he goes close enough, and then like he just like has his shield berries and he's fighting. So it sounds like he didn't want to be under the command of Jod. He was looking for a way out.
Yeah. I agree. I didn't feel like it was too much of a cop out because it was like a gray area because they were on a ship and they were like trying to transfer power in that moment.
Yeah.
And plus we don't know the pirate code.
Yes, I really hope that Disney and Lucasfilm come out with a book soon that is like like a pirate code, but it's like the Star Wars version of it. I think that would be really, really cool.
Wouldn't you think pirates don't really have a code? You know what I mean? Like,
I mean,
it almost seems like
it's like yes and no. They do,
Yeah.
but they don't follow like traditional laws.
Yeah.
But
I don't know, man. I feel like
is-
there's a lot of codes for everything.
We have
Yeah,
one rule. There's no rules. Like that's
Yeah,
kind of what it feels like it would be.
So a couple of years ago, there was the Jedi code book. There was the one about like the bounty hunter code. There was the Sith code. There was the Imperial code, like of just how to be an Imperial, how to be a bounty hunter, Jedi, and Sith. So if they did a pirate code, I think that would be really cool. I think Kristen Baver would be perfect for that. She's fantastic. So I think if she wrote that, I would be sick. So.
Did those code books come out like after April 2014, or are those like previous to?
I think
canon?
I've got mine somewhere.
We lost them.
Colin's gonna run off.
Yeah. No, because
I think they were newer.
So Zach points out that Jod he hid the cuff trick from the crew, so they wouldn't know he knows how to get out of cuffs with the Force.
No.
That's interesting. Urkel also lived this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to see Vane, too, pop in.
Yeah, he actually said something. I can't remember what, but...
Oh, well, actually, kind of going back to the Force thing, do you think that Jod only does does the Force in front of certain people? Because do you think...
Probably at this point, yeah. He doesn't want the pirates to know.
Right. Because I would be really interested of what the pirates would think if they knew, because it didn't really look like they knew.
Right.
So so many more questions. We still have that last episode left, and I feel like there's a lot to there's still a lot to kind of get answers from.
Adam Luck on YouTube says when he last saw him before getting on the ship, wasn't he wearing a helmet?
We saw him take it off.
He took it off, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought we saw him take it off.
Yes.
Yeah, because it got cracked. It got punched.
Right.
Yeah.
He was knocked out. He kind of woke up, took it off, and then he kind of stared at the ship and was like, "Oh no!" And then the ship took off, and he was kind of far away from the ship. So I assumed that he wasn't going to be on it. So again, when he walked up, and I was shocked by that. I was very surprised.
Jumped into my mind immediately when he was wearing that helmet was like, oh my god, that day Jude Law was not on set. I was thinking about the old Pedro Pascal Mandalorian thing going on.
That helmet made me think of Zori Bliss a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, Adam. We got the joke.
Yeah. So Adam Haber, one of our wonderful Patreon members, he asked, does everyone get my @Adam joke?
Yes.
I think yes, but I don't think everyone got the very first joke that you laid on everyone, and everyone thought there's a certain person in the chat. So yeah,
nice.
But maybe they did later on because James kind of addressed it.
Are we expecting Tack to be the supervisor at this point? So, and I said it in the very beginning of this episode, as soon as we started recording, we know that the person who voiced the supervisor is Stephen Fry, and that to the other extent of what his character is, we don't know. Some people in the chat were saying it kind of sounded where it was automated. It could have been a droid saying it. We don't know to the extent of who exactly Stephen Fry is, of what the supervisor is or who they really are. So I'm really curious to see of where they end up going with that. But I was kind of surprised to see, they actually had a name in the title, because that kind of gives the mystery away a tiny bit. But I guess we'll find out, next week, Tuesday. No?
Mariana Arnold in YouTube says, I thought the Jod backstory was going to happen that moment he was flipping out on the kids, calling them spoiled. So all the rumors out there were not true. We did not get a flashback. We did not get a backstory on Jod. So just kind of disappointing. I mean, that would have been kind of cool to see, but I mean, it's only 8 episodes long.
Yeah.
I thought Jude Law himself said there was an episode that was focused on him and his backstory. Am I wrong?
I don't remember hearing any reports about that. Yeah.
Me neither.
I could see them maybe saving it for like a comic or them doing a book. So then you could fully explore the character even more. Sometimes they do that. For example, there's a couple of new Acolytes spin-off comics that are coming out this year, where it's going to add to certain characters from that show, kind of leading up to the events of Acolyte. But yeah, I could see them doing some type of book. I would love a show. I would love a show about young Jod and just kind of working his way up. I think that would be really, really interesting. But only time will tell. Only time will tell.
What is his real name? I think that's a big question.
Yes.
What was his given name?
Yeah.
He might not even know his real name at this point.
I think a great. Oh, what if the spin on it was that like, you know, he ended up like going in some type of coma and then he had amnesia and he forgot who he was, so he just kept coming up with all these names. Well, and then the name of the show, if they did one, would just be a giant question mark. And yeah.
Zach on YouTube says no, but anyone can better swing a lightsaber. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I'm talking about how he handled it so carefully afterwards. Watch again. Okay, I guess we got to watch again.
He kind of held it sideways and like moved it into his cloak, and part of me thought that was because like in real life when he's acting it out, the blade prop is extended and they just use CGI to like make it look like it was retracted and he had to move it. But yeah, fair.
Yeah, the hum of that particular lightsaber was a little different than I think we've ever really kind of heard before.
And there's some gold on the hilt too, which kind of hints at the High Republic era potentially. I could be wrong about that, but there were a lot of lightsabers back in the High Republic. Wow, I cannot talk. High Republic that had some gold to it, because gold was very themed with the High Republic era. So,
yeah, Eric Weil on YouTube says more like guidelines as far as the code goes, the pirate code.
Jack Sparrow would hate 33. He would hate 33 with a passion.
Adam thinks on YouTube that we're possibly expecting Tack to be the supervisor at this point. I don't think so. I think Tack died. I think Tack was the guy with the sword through him, right? On the ship?
That's what it sounded like, is that he got betrayed by his concubine.
Yeah.
What's a concubine?
It's the supervisor.
Jeez.
Adam
that's an episode for another time when you get a bit older.
Well, wasn't that a line in last week's episode? They brought it up and one of the kids was like, "What's a concubine?" And they just
yeah, they say that in the episode. Yeah.
I still don't know what a concubine is. Adam Locke on YouTube says Universal was wrong. I think Universal in chat in the pre-show said 41 minutes. I think it was like 36, but it was actually Zach said 29 before the credits.
It was 29. Short. I was kind of shocked by that.
Yeah, Universal, feel free to come back. You had some really good insight. Noah Richard says, how are we feeling about the show's chances of wrapping up all its storylines by the end of the next episode? I think good. I mean, the kids got reunited with the parents tonight, so I mean,
they're home.
Yeah.
All we got left is a supervisor and kind of Jod's fate, and that's pretty much it. And if what happens with the pirates, I don't know. They crash into the barrier, the security barrier. So
that was very, that was very heartwarming to see that reunion.
And Adam Haber points out that we almost got to have a bad feeling about this in the episode with Neil's mother.
Mom. I thought she was funny because she's like, guys, I'm going to grab this and run. And then instantly gets stunned. And like, oh, man. Yeah. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
I think it was probably the best episode yet.
I think it was a third best episode. I think
I liked how they got so dark with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did get pretty dark. Yeah. Yeah, no, the whole storyline is getting to me, it's getting very close to like Treasure Island and Treasure Planet. So I'm really curious on what the final act is going to be. But we got, how soon will we see the saber hilt at Galaxy's Edge? Man,
I think it depends on how famous it gets in this episode or this series. If Wim takes it up or Wim's father takes it up, I think that's a popular theory now.
I like how it didn't look as thick as the lightsabers, as like the hilts did from Acolyte, because of the hilts and Acolyte look like, of what they do have at Galaxy's Edge, like the custom ones, because the custom ones at Galaxy's Edge have like kind of thick kind of look like to it for the hilt, but the one that Jod is using doesn't really look like that. So I'm really curious on why they did that. Like of just an Acolyte. Was it because they wanted people like who bought lightsabers at Savvy's workshop to be like, oh look, I got a similar lightsaber? But yeah, I don't know.
I think that just had to do with like technology reasons for the lightsaber to be able to be constructed by someone.
Yeah,
and then have the technology to put the kyber crystal in, hold the kyber crystal.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. What's the threshold of that plastic? I mean, how like close can you get those parts working together without them becoming like very like weakened by all the parts like connecting to each other and stuff? I don't know. What would be kind of cool to know who like worked on that and figured all that out.
Yeah.
Zach thinks the supervisor was a Cinder's old captain and John was a first mate or cabin boy. Tell me I'm wrong. I think you're wrong. Adam says Jude Law as a piss pirate yelling at the kids was just showing his awesome acting and why he's on the show. We need more Jod.
Do you think if Jod was that first mate, he would have known sooner that the ship was the key to get to Aten?
So yeah, we need to talk about that because in the heat of the moment, was it that he figured it out, or was it he was just almost like looking for an excuse not to be like jettisoned into outer space?
I think he was looking for an excuse.
I think it was a little bit of both. He figured it out like on the fly there, like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's probably the key.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I'm surprised the kids kind of didn't figure it out because of how could the ship leave like the planet with no problem whatsoever. But then them having troubles getting in. I mean, that kind of makes sense.
That explains it.
Yeah.
Adam Locke says, I wonder if we'll ever know who Saber that is.
Yeah.
And that was something I think I wanted to bring up in the pre-show, but it seems like there's a lot more opportunity to bring up like connective tissue stuff, and it's like they don't do it as much as I think they could.
Wait. So let's say everything works out, and then maybe Wim keeps the lightsaber like after this adventure, and then somehow we end up going to where Ahsoka and Sabine are. We know that Hugh Yang, knows all lightsaber stuff. So then maybe he's like, oh, well, this lightsaber belongs to this person. I could see that happening, and it ends up being someone from like the Old Republic or someone from, from the High Republic that we know from the books. And then, because, Hugh Yang just knows, as soon as you put a lightsaber in front of him, he knows exactly what parts they are and who that lightsaber belonged to and everything.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it's a High Republic blade for sure.
Yeah.
Just, yeah. I mean, I think you have the character encyclopedia, right?
Yeah, I do.
But I would figure by this point somebody would have pointed out, like, hey, look, this is this Jedi's lightsaber by now. Yeah. But you never know. Adam on YouTube is saying, wait, wasn't everyone saying the hilts were huge in the Acolyte because they were old tech? This one is way older than that. Was very thin. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's older tech. I think they kind of pointed to that in the Acolyte, the High Republic era, which makes sense when you think about it from like a technology standpoint. But I think it's just one of those things where, I mean, you can come up with that reasoning, but
Just give me a second. Keep talking. I've got this mini book of lightsabers that shows like every lightsaber like in the new canon and the hilt and everything.
So No Richer on YouTube says, so it's clear now that all people of Aten find out about the rest of the galaxy when they get older, right? I'm thinking back to Wim's dad and the hologram.
That was interesting.
Yeah, I mean that kind of plays on the whole thing where like adults know things that kids don't.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. And you figure some kids have found out, but it's kind of one of those things that adults know, but kids aren't supposed to, and kind of across the board really just don't. I like the way that kind of like plays out there.
So I guess kind of a random question. The credits that we see, are those old air quotes Republic credits from like the prequel trilogy? Or are they new credits that are being used in the current, I guess?
Well, they say Old Republic, so to me that means like 1,000
Yes.
That made
years
me
ago.
think of like the
Yeah.
prequel era Republic just because of, I don't know. That's
Yeah.
why my brain went there. But I wonder if Atten, like if they had any visitors landing on that planet, because they had like a protocol and they had rules they had to follow when people landed there. I wonder if they dealt with representatives from like the interdimensional banking clan. Not interdimensional. Is it interdimensional? The banking clan from Scipio.
Oh.
If those people dealt with Atten at all. I don't know. Maybe
I still think it's funny that they showed up in the show and we saw them just kind of in the spa area, just chilling.
Yeah.
We haven't seen them since like the prequels, and I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they're just hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
not seeing anything.
One of the predictions I think we had was we would possibly see a lot of money on screen, which, yeah, pardon the pun there, but we did see a lot of CGI in that mince going on. Not the traditional kind of space battle type CGI, but we got to see like the inner workings of a Star Wars mint. No Richer on YouTube says, referencing the Old Republic then, are you thinking that the emissary they were expecting was from the Old Republic? I think they made mention of the New Republic, right?
Well, that kind of adds more to the mystery because I guess they are used to shipments. So
right.
The question is, if it is from the New Republic, why and they have all of those credits, why aren't they using that more? Or they are and then they're not telling the public. So that adds more to the sequel storyline, just because in the sequels, you know, they're not all on the same page. The New Republic is kind of keeping secrets from the public and all that stuff. So if that's the case, they could be adding to, you know, that to the storyline that we see later on and like behind the scenes in the sequels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I think it has to do, I mean, with like currency, I mean, they don't want to, I mean, that was a lot of money in that one mint. I mean, who knows like the the economics of Star Wars really? I mean,
I know it's a big galaxy, assuming it gets spread out pretty thin throughout the galaxy. Maybe.
I mean, for like America, I know at one point in time all the gold was like backed up. All of our like money was backed up by gold and silver or whatever. I'm not sure if that's the case anymore, but if it's a system like that, it's it can't be a system like that because they're actually using the gold for the money. So yeah, I don't know. Anyone study economics here in the chat?
Supply and demand.
Yeah, Zap here on YouTube says those vaults are definitely fueling the Final Order Star Destroyer fleet. They could, apparently. I mean, just that one like shelf that Jod pulled one, and it was like a domino effect, and they just started spilling everywhere. I mean, that was a crazy sight. And for a pirate to see something like that, I mean, that's like the end game right there for a pirate.
I was waiting him to pull a Scrooge McDuck and just start like just swimming and in all the credits.
What if at the end the supervisor is Snoke and he acts like he's a good guy? Oh, children, I'm so happy you're okay.
Oh my gosh, come out in the gold robe.
And he kills Jod.
The gold robe.
He
Just
stabs
does like the
DuckTales,
force
woo!
lightning bounce off the ground.
Mm.
Huh.
Yeah,
I mean, what's
I'm
left? You know, you think about it like, okay, where is this story going to go? The kid's already home, so that's done. That was the main thing, you know, getting the kids home. So now that they're there, I mean, basically, they're all kind of like hostages, right?
Yeah.
Kind of to Jod.
Yeah.
But where does it go from there? Either the pirates make it to the planet and help Jod, or Jod somehow gets captured, right? So, like, where does the conflict go?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the way it ended, it makes it look like Jod's going to hold him hostage, but maybe Jod's like just announces, "I am a Jedi. I am here on behalf of the Jedi to, I don't know, be an emissary of the Jedi and kind of claim something else and kind of do this acting thing." Because the kids already know that if they do something, the kids' parents are like goners. So the kids are gonna have to play along, you know, because he's already made it clear that he will slice and dice like he did with Smee.
Yeah. Yeah. Nope. We still have a long way to go. There's a lot of questions that have to be answered. So I hope next week's episode is at least longer than 40 minutes.
I don't see it happening.
We always say that, it always backfires. It's like 29
I know.
tonight.
I'm just hoping.
Right.
Okay. Just.
I mean, all right. So, what do you guys think? Do you guys think the pirates are going to make it to the planet?
Well, they're on the planet now, and they do, and most likely, probably up in the supervisor's tower, they have a thing to turn off the stuff if they wanted to. But my question is if the treasure was brought here, or if they, created it, what's the story behind it? Like, like how long have they been mining there? How was everything brought together? Like those are the questions that I'm asking. And I'm curious if they're going to explain that. If the supervisor is going to be like, well, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and then he just explains everything. Or is it going to be something that we just got to, use our imagination on? Because that's a lot of credits just to have there. And it's like, where's all of those credits going? Why are they just sitting in a vault? Who is spending these credits? Like, I've got questions. I got a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this that Mariana points out on YouTube. It looks like a ship hasn't landed there in a long time. People were standing there. The landing port as it came out of the ground. I don't think the adults know what has happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting because the adults were kind of like in awe of it.
Yeah. Well, then why did it crash land and get buried like in the woods when there was a platform for it?
I don't know. That sounds like a story for another time stuff right there. No, Richard,
we should
on
put
YouTube
that
says,
line on a T-shirt and give that to Craig.
He says, if they were expecting an emissary from the New Republic, you think you'd expect to call out to some high seat official like Chancellor Mothma or something along those lines. Well, it seems like they didn't expect an emissary.
Yeah.
It seems like the ship just like maybe set off the protocol of like, oh, we got to make sure we end the day and make room for this ship. Maybe it's like a once in a generation type thing or something. I don't know. Mariana also says on YouTube, also the way the pirates at port reacted to their credits tells me no one has seen them in a long time. It's an automated system that never got turned off and everyone's waiting. Yeah, I mean, to me, it signified that no one's seen them in a long time because they call them Old Republic credits. Old Republic means thousands of years ago. So that just, that's definitely going to freak people out.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I think if we saw like Roman coins ourselves, I don't know if we would be able to distinguish what those are. And that was a long time ago.
I don't know if I totally missed something or not, but do we know if the people that are, I guess, present in this current time period in Star Wars, like that have been around for the prequel era, and post original trilogy, do they refer to the Old Republic as the Republic under Chancellor Palpatine and the New Republic as, I mean, obviously the New Republic? Do you think they could consider those to be the credits from the prequels, or am I like totally off my rocker? Maybe I'm looking too deep into it for no reason.
I think the credits that were referenced in the original trilogy were the same credits from the prequel trilogy, right? Or am I off there?
Well, because they had Imperial credits, right? In the
right.
I don't know.
So like at the end of the prequel trilogy.
Yeah. So that's like one of your standard credits. This was like an Imperial credit right here.
Colin, why do I feel like your wife pays you in credits when you do chores around the house?
Hey, listen, at this point, I could buy myself a starship. I mean, come on.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
You're washing the dishes again. Good boy. Here's another credit.
What the hell?
Yeah, Zach brings up something interesting here, I think, on YouTube. He says something will happen where the kids have to speak to save his life, but they will be quiet because he told them to shut up. I'm not quite sure that's going to happen, but I think there might be a scenario where the kids are going to have John's life in the balance there, and I think they're probably going to save his life.
Yes.
I think that's probably what's going to happen, and he's going to be a prisoner or whatever, and they're going to be like, well, wait a minute, he knows the Force, and then they... I don't know.
Yep. I'm
do something where he can't.
Yeah, I got a feeling this is going to be very similar to the ending of Treasure Planet. I just have a feeling.
Technically, he would have to lose his hands, right? Because that's where all like. I mean, it's difficult to use the Force without hands, right?
Yeah. How would he? Oh man. Yeah.
And I know back in like KOTOR time.
Yeah, I feel like
it could be something where his greed kills him. Like maybe he's trying to carry too many credits back off of the planet.
Well, like when he got out of the vault and he had all the necklaces and stuff.
That's exactly what happens in Treasure Planet. Like
I've never seen Treasure Planet. No,
I've never seen Treasure Planet.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Yeah, no. It's like, I mean, I'm telling you, the ending's probably going to be very similar. I can already sense it. I can already see it. It's like either it's going to be very similar to that, or it's going to be something completely different. But if they're going along the lines of different pirate tropes, Treasure Planet, Treasure Island, like all those classic pirate stories are really great things to lean into. So I wouldn't complain if that ended up being the case. But no,
I think somehow Neil is going to save the day, or Wim. Yeah. How cool would it be to see like Wim is like doing a moment, his friends and the parents are in danger, and then he's like, no, and then it's like an Ezra moment, and he uses the Force, and it's like, whoa. Neil has the Force the whole time, just hadn't been unlocked yet.
Neil would be wild because Wim would be like, come on.
Yeah,
and he'd
be like, come on, man.
If I could.
Yeah, it's like, it's not fair.
All right, so Noah on YouTube says, what is one thing y'all absolutely need to have answered by the end of next week's episode? Identity of the supervisor, John's fate, Pirate's fate.
That's a good question.
How everything came to be. I really don't want that
Genesis,
to be
the book of Genesis for Star Wars.
I also hang on, hold up, hang on. Of how everything on that planet came to be. And then also of Jod's real, actual story of his backstory and everything. I really would like to know what's going on with that. Yeah.
I'd like to
know. And that could be a whole series unto itself, the Jod backstory.
That could be. Yeah. For sure. I'd like to know what the overall plan is for AT and how it's playing into something going on that people aren't aware of.
Yeah. They are going to have to, if something is to happen to the planet, I'm curious if they have a backup system, be like, all right, we all need to hop on these lifeboats, but they're ships, and then get them off planet because there's like a procedure just in case something is to happen. I'm I'm just curious, like, what's going to happen? What's the end game here? Because if one pirate gets away and they find out that everything is true, like by word, somehow someone is going to get back there, and someone smart out there in the galaxy is going to figure out how to get past the barrier to get to that treasure. So I'm really curious of what's going to happen with that, because, you know, those are a lot of credits. You like saw the size of that, like you saw the size of that room, and there's over 1,000 of those vaults. So I'm curious of what the aspect of that is going to be. Jod has a lot of potential. Also said that about Chimera. Yeah. I really hope this isn't the last that we hear of Jod, and I hope we hear more about Chimera, because he was probably one of the coolest characters that came out of Acolyte.
We'll ask him in Japan.
Yeah. There you go.
And Zach thinks maybe John has to leave the goal if he wants to live.
Again, that is Treasure Planet.
Is that where Zach is getting all of his ideas from?
If you guys haven't watched Treasure Planet, that is like that is an underrated Disney movie. It is such a great movie.
So the main character,
such an incredible cast.
He has blonde hair and glasses, right?
No.
Am I thinking about something else?
You are thinking. Yes, you are thinking of Atlantis, because that character is Milo, and he's played by Michael J. Fox, which that is also a great movie.
Treasure Planet's like the man bun before it was popular.
It's a good movie. That is my so my wife loves that movie with a passion. Like it really is good, guys. Have you ever seen Treasure Planet?
But I want to see the finale first, otherwise it may ruin the finale.
Yeah. Oh man.
No, Richard on YouTube says, at this point, do you think there's any way that an antenna lore could be connected?
True, that'd be like pretty deep cut connection. That'd be sweet. Jedi Survivor, right? Is that where they ended up at the end of it?
And that's how Cal Kestis shows up. It's what's up, guys?
Yeah. He rides on
there's a rumor out there that Cal
Tanalorr.
Kestis is going to show up at some point in a live action.
Yeah. Cool. There was the rumor that he was seen on the actor was seen on set on season 2 of Andor. So,
Yep. Zap on YouTube says those Old Republic credits would diminish so much in value if the planet got raided, though. Yeah, something tells me that Atten is going to be safe after all this, and our kind of theory of the one lone surviving pirate gets out there and maybe tells all these people all these stories, and they just like laugh at him in the end, and that's the end of the show right there.
Maybe it's Jod.
Yeah, he kind of loses his mind. Yeah. He's like a street magician.
He can't get back to it. Maybe that's it, that he can't. They send him off the planet and they know he can never figure out a way back.
Yeah.
You know, that it would make him crazy.
Yeah. Another tie-in to Treasure Planet. I was just thinking about this too, and you guys are gonna be like, what the heck? But in that movie, there's this droid, like this robot, and his mind is wiped by the captain, and it was to, protect the location of the treasure and how to access it.
What the heck?
Yeah. Yeah.
Starting to feel like Skeleton Crew is ripping stuff off.
There is
a lot of similarities. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's another one. How upset will everyone be if Jod dies in the next episode?
At this point,
I want to see more of him.
Not upset. I mean, because of what he did in this episode was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
I
don't think I'd be upset. It's more how they do it.
Yeah. What do you think the chances are that Smee comes back and they just reattach his head somehow? Because this is a pretty clean cut.
I think
I'm sure he'll come back some way, somehow.
Yeah. And I mean,
even if it's like R2 at the end of A New Hope, where he's like, you know what I mean? He's alive at the last minute, that they put him back together.
That's funny.
Oh, Adam.
Yeah. Yeah, I am excited to see where it goes. I feel like, there's so many characters from this show that are just fantastic, and I just hope we see more. And I've really enjoyed the show. As soon as the first 2 episodes came out, I was like, I'm hooked. This is fantastic. And with each episode, it's just been, more and more and more. And it's just been fun. It's been upbeat. There have been surprises around the corner. I think this episode was a point to that. I think a lot of things in this episode people were not expecting. So I'm really excited to see, what happens in the finale. And I hope we get more.
Sure.
And I hope this isn't the last that we see of Jod, because I think Jod is a very interesting character, and I hope that we get more stories with him in the future, or in a book or something in some way, or even a TV show. It would be fantastic.
Yeah.
What if Luke comes in the last episode and wipes out all the pirates and Jod?
That would be, yeah.
Don't take it away from me. I have a week to pretend that it could happen.
Okay, so actually in Treasured Planet, no, I'm just kidding.
Luke Skywalker.
Keep going, Colin. I've never wanted you to keep talking more in your life.
Man.
Yes, Luke does what?
Oh yeah. So no, and then we have a couple of months until Celebration, and then at the end of April is Andor, which is great because that means that Andor will be going all the way through May. So we all Star Wars fans know that Star Wars, that May is Star Wars month. Like there's always big stuff happening in Star Wars during the month of May. There's a bunch of anniversaries of May. This year marks the 20th anniversary. Born. Yes, exactly. No,
big May for Colin.
Colin's kid might be born.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he could come before, but his due date is on May 14th, so it'd be crazy. But my birthday was actually on the opening weekend of Revenge of the Sith, which this year marks the 20th anniversary. So
crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's awesome.
So we have Andor, but that's it for Star Wars for the rest of the year, right?
Well, as far as we know, because Star Wars Celebration always likes to throw surprises, out of nowhere and be like, okay, hey, guess what? We're actually doing this year, because there's a lot of Star Wars. There's a lot of different Star Wars games in development. So they could be like, hey, this game is, coming out this fall or this winter.
Maybe we could get an animated show, but I don't think live action.
What about Visions?
Yes.
Is there another Visions season?
There is Visions coming out as well. There is the Hondo Onaka DLC for Star Wars Outlaws that's coming out this year. They could definitely announce a animated show because, Dave Filoni loves to cook. So, I would be shocked if we didn't end up getting some type of an animated show that Dave Filoni was tied to. But again, he is a busy guy. So
other than that, we don't really have, what do we have? Ahsoka's not shot yet. They just finished Mandalorian, and that's coming out in 500 days, I saw today. So we really have no Star Wars shows that we know of besides Andor?
Not really. Yeah, not live action. I'm telling you, as soon as Celebration hits, they will be throwing out a lot of announcements. I would be shocked if they didn't. Something involving the prequels in some way, just because this year marks the 20th anniversary. My hope is a live action Clone Wars show in some aspect. We'll probably, get more game announcements, more release dates. They'll probably drop a trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu. I would be shocked if they didn't. So I feel like there's a lot to look forward to as Star Wars Celebration for those that are going. It's going to be awesome. So
man, kind of depressing though, because we're probably not going to get a live action show for a while after Andor.
Yeah,
Craig's bringing down the podcast here.
Yeah, geez, man.
But Andor season 2 though should be pretty epic because the figures came out and they're like they spent like over $260 million on this thing. It's like more than a movie.
Excited.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. I think we're going to be blown away by Andor season 2, honestly.
Yeah, that show is going to be amazing. And this is the final season of Andor. They aren't doing anything after this with it.
No, there's another season after Andor. It's called Rogue One.
Well, that's not a show. That's a movie, David. But
technically,
well, I also love how they said that the end of Andor, like of the show, is going to lead directly into the opening of Rogue One. So I love how it's not going to skip a beat where, like, you know, they would have time for another story like between it. Like, it's going to lead directly into the movie of Rogue One. I think that's awesome.
And the other cool thing that Diego Luna said was the fact that you're going to want to watch Rogue One and you're going to see it in a totally different way.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I think that's probably what we're all going to do is just watch Rogue One right after that last episode.
Yeah, that'll be
after the post show, of course.
Longer post show. No, we got to do that and then the post show. Make it the real deal.
We'll find out who that guy that he shot at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, and there will be a bunch of kind of leaps through the years in this final season of Andor. And, you know, there's a chance that we'll probably see some characters from Star Wars Rebels in there. We'll probably, you know, we'll definitely see some characters from Rogue One. We know that director Krennic is going to be in it, which is awesome.
That's so cool.
So yeah.
Yeah, Ganos Dentist on YouTube says, what would you guys like to see from Star Wars animation in the future? James and I did a podcast in the past where we talked about we want to see the continuation of the original trilogy live action, but you can continue it with the big 3 in animation. You could do it kind of seamlessly.
Yes.
So that would be really cool to see.
Yeah, it would be. I feel like there's so many great stories that they could tell. I mean, and they Mark Hamill would probably come back for that. Harrison Ford probably not. There is the rumor right now that they are going to be doing a Old Republic, like of that storyline as a series, and that potentially would be announced at Star Wars Celebration, and that's coming from a lot of credible sources. So if that ends up being the case, that would be really, really cool. But only time will tell. And then, you know, for games, you know, I really want to see Star Wars Battlefront 3. Everyone's like been, I really want to see Star Wars Battlefront 3. I think it was a mistake, like, you know, kind of leaving Star Wars Battlefront 2 and going to Battlefield 2042. I think that was just oh man. So I really hope
they got to make a virtual reality Star Wars game.
They do. Vader Immortal
game where you're flying around.
Well, the other thing is I've been wanting, dude, all I want is a Grand Theft Auto Star Wars game.
David?
Like, what's that?
Have you tried virtual reality?
Yeah, I have the first what's it called?
Oculus
Quest?
Yeah.
No, you're right. No, I know exactly of what you're talking about. I don't know if I did it with you. I know you and I were both hyped around the same time when it came out, but it was the old thing that they used to have over at Disney Springs. Then they had
Void. The Void is awesome. It is like incredible. But of course, once the pandemic hit, you couldn't really have everyone share stuff that touched your face and touched your body. So they kind of like nixed that. But it was incredible, guys.
Right. And
that might actually be my number one Star Wars experience.
And that experience actually ties into Vader Immortal.
You raise your arms up and you have Stormtrooper armor on you.
Yeah.
And I went in there with my daughter when she was like half my size. I looked down, she was a little mini Stormtrooper.
What?
And it was like perfect.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then you held blasters, it made the sounds, you had speakers in your ears.
I remember that.
Once you got hit with blaster fire, you would feel the heat. And you took a trip to Mustafar. When you were landing, you felt the heat rise up from your feet onto your head.
Take it all off and you're sweating.
Yes.
Yeah,
you have a big vest on. It's not heavy at all, and then you have like a helmet.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you never actually went and did that, Craig. Just because of the location.
I know I considered it, and then I don't know, for whatever reason I didn't go. Maybe it was because of when it was with the pandemic and everything. But
well, this was before because I did it in 2018.
Yeah, I also did it. Like probably in the early days of when it
might have
came
been
out.
2015 because I think I went to Celebration.
I was looking at it at one point. I was looking at the website and everything. I was like, "Oh, this looks pretty good." But I've had like all the VR units. I've had like PlayStation 1, 2 VR. I have the Quest 1, 2, and 3. So I would love to see a great battle.
Well, the Squadrons game, you can hook it up to that.
Yeah.
You can?
Yes.
But do you need it to connect it to a laptop? Is that why?
They had the virtual stuff for the PlayStation that you could do with it. You can also do PC as well. And they actually have a VR.
It was a better result if you did do it through the PC because of the actual computing power that you could have over the PS5.
That game is a flight simulator. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it's pretty good, but I mean, not everyone has that capability, so it's not like it was going to catch on, but it does exist. I love Zap's comment on YouTube. Getting a Star Wars movie like Band of Brothers a show would be great from Stormtrooper Rebels' point of view, like on battlefields. Yes, that would be great.
I will say there is a fan film series that's been made called Bucketheads, and that is very similar to what you're talking about. Maybe not to the extent of violence, but it's pretty good. Going back to my game thing real quick, I don't want a Star Wars Grand Theft Auto game. I want a game similar to Grand Theft Auto, to where you can kind of have any job that you want, and just, I mean, for example, if you're feeling I'm going to be a smuggler, or I'm gonna own a moisture farm, of just jump back and forth of like what you want to do. I think it'd be a really cool game. Customize your ship.
I'd like to see that game take off.
I mean, come on. I mean, I think the possibilities are endless for an open world Star Wars game. They were so close with Outlaws. They were so close with it. And I feel like if there were some things added to it, I think that game would have been amazing. But they just missed a couple of things in it where I was just like, oh man. And I think playing online with friends, that's another thing. Co-op games are really, are a big thing right now. So I think they should really jump the gun on that and maybe remake or like not remake, but like kind of remod it to where it's up to standards now, but like the Star Wars Republic Commando games, playing online with friends on that, like it would be sick. There's so many opportunities that they have, and it's just at the palm of their hands, man. So I really hope that we get more of those type of games. Star Wars Battlefront 3 is a big one for me, though. I would love to see that come back because Star Wars Battlefront 2 was so much fun. No,
I don't know. Dennis, do you live in Texas?
David sounds like my long lost father. Oh man. Is there anything else that you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, is Craig even a Star Wars fan? Uh-oh, here we go.
I don't know. Does my life-size Luke Skywalker head say anything?
Oh jeez. All right. Well, and again, if you guys didn't hear during the pre-show, if you are going to Orlando, Florida, over to MegaCon next month, some of the podcasts will be there, including Countdown City Geeks, and we'll be with Legion Sabers. So please go check us out. Come say hi. A bunch of us will probably be wearing our podcast shirts or some Star Wars shirt that you'll be like, they're from the podcast. But yeah, so come and say hi. If you see us. Yeah.
Yes, we will be at MegaCon. Colin and I know for sure. James maybe. Ted maybe. Craig for sure.
Yeah.
Craig lives at that convention center.
No.
Can't kick me out.
Yeah.
They try.
He loves sleeping on those hard floors there.
Don't remind me.
There you go.
All right, guys. Well, Yeah, I think that's the show. That was the second to last episode.
Great episode tonight, and we nailed a lot of it. A lot of our predictions came true. So I'm really proud of all of us for practically right down the line we had this episode.
Yep. We were even like down to the Max Rebo cameo. Like it was insane. It was absolutely incredible.
Half of the dialogue. It was so incredible.
Yeah. There you go.
So there's someone on YouTube watching us, the Mandarian. First time in live chat, listened for about 3 years. Some of you look exactly like I imagine, some not all.
Oh. I don't know if
if you like that that notion. Anytime, so I listen to a lot of podcasts. Anytime I see the people that actually do the podcast, they look nothing like what I expected.
Yeah,
so
that's so true.
That's always strange. Or like radio people. When you see radio people, it's like, oh my God. It's like, I wasn't
Especially
expecting.
like growing up, like back in the day when the internet was really young, I remember seeing like people on the radio for the first time. I was like, what? They look nothing like what I expected.
Was it like in Wayne's World 2 where they met Handsome Dan? And it ended up being that one guy from I think it was like was it the drummer or the bass player from Spinal Tap? I don't know. It was that actor. He was also in Godzilla 2. He was like a reporter or something. And I think he's actually a voice on The Simpsons as well. I'm trying to remember the actor's name. I don't know. Maybe Chad can help us out. But Zap says, great show, guys. Max Rebo cannot do anything wrong.
I like this guy.
I don't know. He's always trying to kiss up to Colin, but. So Mariana says, good night, everyone.
Fantastic.
Okay, so Zach says he listens to us at 1.5 speed. Okay.
Man, we all probably sound
all right. Okay.
All right, guys. Yeah, thank you so much. Check us out on all the socials. We're out there, just about all the popular ones. So, for Zach, Colin, Craig, my name's David, and may the force be with you.
Always.
Good afternoon.
And good evening and good night.